Good morning and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today we are going to be doing some work with the craft shield, but I'm also going to be introducing you to a couple of new things that we have coming along too. So first of all, don't be afraid to say hi or ask any questions along the way. Now I am doing a bit of a whistle stop tour today, so if there's something that you want to see in more depth, let me know and I can always post a video on it. Good morning, Linda. Morning, Deb. And I believe Mum will be along as and when she can. So, we have our nesting frames of our craft shield, and I have here the 10x10, the 8x8 and the 6x6, and inside I've loaded a piece of 6x6 card. So the number that is on your layers, shall we say, refers to the inside aperture, not the outside edge, so just bear that in mind. Okay, and we're going to be able to use this not only on our mats, but we're also going to be able to use it in our stamping platform or for doing stenciling and things like that. So today I'm going to show you a little bit on the Scan and Cut, a little bit stamping, and maybe a little bit of stenciling. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. So, first things first. As I said, I've already loaded up my mat with a piece of card, and I've kind of got myself set up. Now, if I break up my Scan and Cut, we have a design on our mat already, so you need to have something on your mat to be able to do your background scan so that we can see where our shield is sitting on our mat. So we're going to load our mat as normal. Okay. Now just checking that my scan glass is in the up position. So you want to make sure that lever is up so that we can have a bit of extra clearance. And that isn't to make room for the shield, that's so that we have room for things like if we want to do drawing, that the ink isn't going to smudge and things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to our main screen. So that's where we have add, edit and our other functions. And we have our little background scan button there. So I'm going to tap that and type start. Now, hopefully it will clear the cable. Okay, so we've got this darker edge around the outside. Now, from what I can see in the light that I have here, you can actually see the etched logo and sizes on the screen. I know on your screen it's coming out a little bit darker. That's just the lights. So I've tried to bring in a bit more light today so that we can see things a little bit better when they're on the desk. So I've grouped my design already, so that means that we can then move it around nice and easily. Now what I want to do is create a layered card design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Edit, Object Edit, and see this nice straight edge that we've got here. I want to use that on the outside. So you've got two options. We can use Rotate, so that we do it in the left hand corner, and rotate it around twice, like so. Or you could have just dragged it to a different corner, but I just find it's just easier working in this top left. Now we want to try and be fairly close to our edge, but not so close that we're not going to be able to fix our foil. Now I'm going to go OK. I'm going to go into resize because I want to see exactly how big this image is. And we can see that it has a height of 2.4 inches and a width of 1.6. Now I'm going to be working with 6x4 foils today, so first announcement is our taster packs are changing to 6x4 sheets. So that's just going to make it a little bit easier for anybody that it just creates in A6 size. So let's go with that one. And I'm going to go OK again and OK. So that's kind of sorted. We can come back to that in a bit. So let's come back overhead. So now we need to choose our foils. Now, Lucy has been very busy cutting and we have some very, very nice foils to play with. So I literally have one of everything. So even our nice red satin. So our red satin isn't currently available. So if you would like to see that in our store, you've got to let us know. Now, it's a bit more expensive than the average foil, so it does have a slightly higher price point, particularly in the 12x12 size, just to let you know. But if you want us to get it in, then definitely let us know. So it's a bit hard to tell, but it has a really nice sheen to it rather than being outright gloss. Okay, now we also have hidden down the pack, we have Koi Copper, which is the first of our new colours. So you can get this in a taster pack now, or you can pre-order it in the larger sheets. We have this one, which is known as Seville. So it's a bit of a paler version to Koi. So if I put the two together so you can see that with the Koi you've got that real strong orange pop, whereas with the Seville it's a bit more coppery rather than orangey. Okay, and then we have, let me make sure I've got the right one before I say it. Yeah, we have the Cove now. The Cove is gorgeous. This is the content creators' favourite. So, another announcement. Our design team are now content creators, so they get to have a bit more control over what they're doing, and we have a bit of a bigger team. So, those are our three new colours. Now you can get these in a taster pack with the normal gold and the gold molten. So if you want to get the gold molten, it's a good way to go. And you're going to get those in 6x4 sheets. Now the 12x12s are going to be individual colours, but those are on pre-order over on our website, which is plannercraft.co.uk. Now, while I think of it, as you're watching this on YouTube, you can use my YouTube discount, which is 15%, as in the symbol, YouTube, all one word, 15% YouTube. Okay, that gets you 15% off when you spend £5 or more. So you can use that as many times as you like. And we do have some new exciting things that are going to be coming up on the shop over the next few days, so do check that out. Now, our little leaf design, I'm not going to go bold for a change. I'm going to go, let's go for something a bit different. Let's go fine. I'm going to go for the stronger colour. So, with our foil quills, we have 3 nibs to choose from. Okay, I'm going to go for the fine nib. And I got a 3D Fun Prints holder on mine just because I got the Beyond Memory Keepers one stuck on me standard. So I'm going to pop that in. And this end we need to connect up to a battery pack, which I have just here. Now, with your battery pack, please do keep an eye on it. Make sure that it doesn't get damaged so that we don't have any accidents. So there's my battery pack, and then my quill is heating up. Now when you're using your foil, you want to allow it a little bit longer before we actually start foiling, just so that it's getting a bit warm before we go. So I'm going to tape on my foil, and let's just change camera view so you can see that a little bit easier. So, just going to move that there. There we go. I'm going to tape that down, and we can tape it directly to our shield. It's not going to hurt. Now what I would say is when you're doing this, if you want to then do another scan, just to make sure that you are missing your tape when you're foiling, because otherwise if you go over your tape, then you're also going to be missing sections because it can't get enough heat through the tape to make it transfer. Yeah, the new colours are fab. So we have the Cove, Koi Copper, Seville, and then if you want to let us know about that red satin too. So I'm very quickly just going to do that scan again just to check. Okay, so let's go back to our screen, and we've got a design there. It can be sometimes a bit difficult just to see, so if you need to, we can lighten that scan and we can still see where the edge of our tape is. We can see that leaf is a little bit close for what we would prefer, so rather than retaping it on this occasion, I'm just going to use my arrow keys just to nudge it down away from that tape, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to go okay at that, okay again, okay, and we're going to go to draw. Now in terms of speed setting, we're pretty much already there. So draw speed 1 because you want to go nice and slow to get that to transfer across. And yes, Sandra, the colours are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, we can't get the camera to do it justice. I ended up doing lots of photo work just to get the colours to be accurate. So with that, let that go. It's going to throw up an issue saying attach appropriate holder. That's just because we've got that 3D thumbprints holder on, so we can just tell it to go. But the benefit of our foils is that you don't have to have a foil quilt or even a scanning cut or silhouette to use them. Hi Mum! You could be using your Quickie glue pen or any two-way adhesive. You could be using your leafing glue. You could be using double-sided tape or adhesive. You could be using sticky stickers. So if you've got some of those going way back, and you used to be able to get the stickers that were actually adhesive on top as well, that work with those just fine too. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do 4 lots of foiling. And when you're doing your foiling with your foil quill, you do want to be timing yourself because you don't want to be letting that foil quill stay on for more than a quarter of an hour. Okay, so I'm going to peel off that tape with our foil, and let's do a very quick overhead. So you can see that we've got our 4 design here. We're going to pop out our card. Hopefully this could be a little bit tricky because it fits nice and snug, so if you're struggling, lift the frame, do it that way, just so that you can get underneath. Okay. Now you want to try and keep that frame in position as much as possible. I'm going to rotate that card. I'm going to press that down. Okay. And let's go that way on my foil. Okay. And we're going to tell it to go again. So yeah, the colours are very autumnal, and they're going to go with a new collection that's coming out. Say no more. But that's not quite ready just yet, but I wanted you to see the colours of these foils. So now's the time to get your tasters. Have a look, see what you think. So we're getting quite a nice little range of foils now. So if there's a particular colour that you're looking for, do shout and let us know. Now if you do find that your foils are starting to lift, just carefully press that tape back down. It does pull on that tape quite a bit, so. Okay, let's see how that did. Yay, there we go. So as we're working with that fine tip, you're always going to get much lighter application of foil. That's okay. You can turn that round. And let's go that way with the foil this time. So I'm trying to get nice all over coverage of the design so that we can actually use that to our benefit in a bit. So I'm going to go okay, draw, start, okay, start. Now, when you're using your foil in your machine, it's the one and only time that I do advise you to use tape. If you're having issues with your cardstock sticking to your mat, however, then just use some two-way glue, let it totally dry, and then you should be good to go. Pulling that forward a little bit, but it's a bit of an awkward place, so don't panic. Just keep your hand hovering over the pause button just in case you need to rescue it. It should be fine. And that's why we lift our lever up to that upright position. Now you can use these shields also in the silhouette and the cricket. The difference being that you're just going to want to map out whatever setup you use into your cricket or silhouette software respectively, as they don't have that built-in scanner. Okay, and how we're doing. So we've got about 5 more minutes of use. Let's go that way this time. Just because this is starting to pull up a little bit, I may just pop a little extra tape just to help it out. And again, your shield is there to do exactly what it says on the tin, so don't be hesitant to kind of stick it down and use and abuse. We've thrown ink at it and all sorts. So okay, one last time. So, for those of you that may have joined late, let's just very quickly go back over the colours. So we've got Cove in the machine at the moment. We've got Koi Copper, which is just absolutely lush. And it's going to be fab for all your autumn projects, or fall for those of you in the States. And then this one is Seville. So it's not quite copper. It has more of an orangey tinge than a proper copper would. But it's really gorgeous. And the three together just perfect. Okay, so while that's finishing up, I've prepped another piece of the 6x6 card. So what I did was I took a 12x12, cut it down to 4 squares, nice and simple. And this is using a mix of Distress inks and Distress oxides. So if you want to colour this, let me know and I'll read them all out. Oh yeah, it's definitely pumpkin colour. So let's pop out that foil, because remember, that clock's still ticking. Unplug it from my battery and we can let that cool down as needed. So pop that there so that can have time to cool down. So we've got our card here, and let's bring in our foil that we've just done. Okay, so we've got a lovely leaf design that is now on our foil. So if I flick this over, you can see that we've got little bits of foil that are now missing, where they've transferred to our card. But that means that we can now use and reuse. And there's our first layer of our card. Now, you may have, or you may not have, the foil quill handhelds. Okay, so these are exactly the same technology as our foil quills go in our ScanNCut. How long would you suggest before using the quill again? I would let it cool for at least a good 10 minutes. At least. So you want to be making sure that it's getting to almost like room temperature before reheating. Okay, so I'm going to go for the bold tip this time because I want to work on some areas of foil. Now, let's get that in the right way round. And as usual, because we've only just plugged that in, at the moment it's still going to be cold. Now it does heat up quite quickly. Number one, don't try and use your finger to test it. Otherwise you end up with a nice little dot that scars for quite some time. Ask me how I know. So I actually had the predecessor to the foil quills, which were the Heatwave. Thank you, didn't know, only used for a short period very grateful for the info. Yep, I am somewhat of a stickler for reading the safety instructions for things. I more like to read the safety instructions than the actual how to use instructions. And one of the things it says is don't use it for extended periods, so 15 minutes should do. And it just means that you're not melting anything as well in your machine. So let's see if that's good to go. And the way we can do that is we can just do a little dot in the corner. So let's see. I'm just going to very gently lift this corner up, and if it transfers, which it has, then we know we're good to go. Now with our foil quills, we're using heat and pressure to transfer that foil. So let's go for this section here, because I think that could be quite good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go all over that design. And you want to try and make sure that your lines kind of overlap. I'm not going to do whole like rectangles. I want to try and keep it a bit more abstract than that. Okay. Now what I ran out of time to do earlier is I was going to do some glue pen, so that was ready to go too. So what I will do is I'll do a thinner application of glue just so that you can see that. And I hopefully have time for it to dry before we transfer the foil. So we're just going to work across that foil. And if you hear that, like, that's really good, because that means that our foil is transferring and it's actually lifting off. Okay, so we've got that little bit there, and we might pick another section somewhere else. So just down here we've got this little 2-leaf branch. Now if I work too fast, you're going to see that it doesn't transfer, and it's going to look like you haven't really gone over it. So just go a little bit slower. It can be really hard to kind of monitor your speed in that way. We are not machines. But then once you've gone one way, you can go across the other. Now, doing it this way, you are going to get more like a satin finish without the expense of a satin finish. Okay, now let's just do a few random dots so it doesn't look like I've just done a blob in the corner. So some people can do really lovely scripty work with their foil quill pens. Me, I haven't quite got the knack yet. Okay, but let's just unplug for a moment, and we can let that start to cool down. I will come back to it in a bit though. So let's peel that away so we can see what we've got going on underneath. So as I said, this is going to give me more of a satin finish. Oh, we need a little bit longer just up here. But actually, for what I want, that's not bad. Okay, so now I'm going to pop that to one side and we can save our foil and reuse that again. So if you've got like a hot foil plate, the solid one, then you can do that and you will get the gloss finish. But this time let's get, so this is Seville. Okay. So whenever we're using our foil quill, we're going to end up taping our foil. But when we're using our handheld one, we can get away with a little less tape. Mainly because we can get our hands in there and just hold it where we need to. Ooh. Battery pack starting to dwindle slightly. So I can see along this edge here, I've got that blue, so that means that our copper is going to be a good kind of contrast. Now, if I bring in our first layer, we can kind of mimic that, but this time, instead of having those leaves as hollow, I'm going to try and actually do some as solid, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to do a curve of a stem, okay, and you want to try and go slow enough that it's going to transfer first time. Hi, mister. With a handheld quill, do you still need to make sure the foil is tight down then? Ideally, yes. So I'm going to do a little curve out from that. Let's see if I can get that a little bit closer for you. There we go. So we've got like this little sticky bit just here. We're then going to do our leaf shape like so. And then we can just fill that in with little circles. So again, leaf shape. And if you've ever done that practice style of drawing where you do it where you don't lift off your pencil, you're going to find it's a really good one to practice for this, because it's going to be a lot easier if you can kind of keep it in contact all the time. And one out here, just to kind of balance, because you don't find leaves all at one side of the stem. And one there. Now the good thing about nature is it's very forgiving, because there's nothing to say what's wrong or right. Now we can do the same up here very quickly. I'm just going to do some stems, then we can do leaves. So, and let's just put a leaf up this top section here. And a little bit on there, just before we get to that tape. Okay. So, let's see how that works. There we go. So we've got our foil leaves. And we can let that foil quill cool. So, just bearing in mind what I want to do for my centre section, I think I'm going to do a little bit quickie glue pen. So, in this case, I'm using the Brother one, just because. Actually, that's quite good in terms of placement. So, I'm going to be working with our Koi Copper next. So you want to be either in a light area so that you've got contrast, or a cool area so you've got a real contrast against that warmth. So I'm thinking, let's do some little blobs over here. may be that I need a new pen. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's go here. Let's see if I can get my pen going a bit better. It needs to flow. There we go, getting there. It's sticky, so that's a good start. So, can do just some flourishes, and then just the occasional leaf shape, keeping it kind of really abstract. Let's go for another one just over here. Maybe just a few little dots down here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that to one side and let that dry totally. Okay, so we've got 2 layers done so far. Let's show you one other technique before we try and put all these together. So this one isn't going to be a foiling one, but we're going to be using us stamps instead. So let's just zoom back out, and I'm going to need my 6x6 frame, and the rest of it for now can move out of the way. Now, as I said, we don't have to have a cutter to make use of the craft frame, because we can also use it in a stamp platform. You can also use it if you have like a magnetic platform too. But I thought I would show it on a stamp platform today. Now there is a YouTube video that is edited and just needs uploading, so hopefully later this week we can get into that. There we go. So let's put that there. And I'm going to put my magnets this time on my outer frame. And I have got an old cutting mat underneath, so this one in particular is an old silhouette mat, so it doesn't hurt to chop it down. We're going to get our clear stamps, and this time I'm going to go for I was thinking this nice kind of rosy like stamp here, and I want to create a kind of frame. So I'm going to start off with this in the corner here, and we've got lots of room to play. Now if you're doing a stamp that is a bit bigger, just be aware that you need to mask off the width of this stamp section here, just so that you don't get like a dual image as you stamp round. Okay, let's pop that down, lift that up. Now I'm working with a fairly new stamp, so it's still quite sticky. Let's go to Vintage Photo, so that I'm using one of the colours out of our background piece. And let's stamp that down. And we've got our first colour. I'm going to rotate. Now if you want to do reef building, we actually have a circle shield that's meant for that. That's a cool one. So rather than having a star shape like most, it's just a set of circles, but they have the degrees notched on them. Okay, so we're nearly back at the beginning. Like so. Okay. So I'm going to pop the lid back on my ink for a second. I'm going to clean my stamp because we're going to need to move it. So just clean off the area around your stamp as well. Get that ink out of there because we don't want to have a double image, so particularly this flower head. Just want to make sure it's clean. And peel that off, flip that over. Now I'm going to line up that flower head back over the top. Okay, and I'm going to try and rotate it so that our stem lines up like so. Now we want to kind of pay attention to where our lines stop. So we want to aim for that the fattest part of our stem. So I'm going to lift that up. So we want to ink from about there up to our flower head now. You can spend so much more time doing this than I can, because let's just do that a little bit more. Missed a bit in the middle. Then we're going to rotate. Let's just check that position because I just nudged that. Yep, looks fine. Go for it. So a little bit more ink. Now, with something like this, what I would say is you don't want to be doing direct cut because you have got lots of areas where the lines don't close. So like here on the stamp. Stupid question, what is a craft shield? Not a stupid question at all. Craft shield is something that we have invented. It started from an issue on Alive, oddly enough, where I had a brand new mat. I wanted to do foiling, not the best idea. Foil met mat. Matt never decided to release the foil. So, hence the foil shield was born. Then, as we were kind of working with the foil shield, as was, it's kind of moved on, as things do. And there were lots of other techniques that we started to do with it. So things like book crafting. So let's say you want to line something up in the same way, whether that's either on your Scan and Cut, or if you are working with, you know, like this with the stamp platform where you want to have an image repeat round, then that is the way that we do it. Okay, so we've got our kind of frame going. We've got our foil done, and I will clean my stamp better than that, I promise. Just needs water just to clean it up, but for some reason my water spray's gone walkies. Okay, so going back to what is the craft shield. So you have a set of nesting squares in this case, going from the outside is 300mm by 300mm. It's not quite 12 by 12, but it's enough to protect your mat. So you then have a 10 by 10 aperture in that. You then have an 8 by 8 in the next, 6 by 6, 4 by 4, etc. Then in the middle of that, you get some little corners now. This is where the next bit comes in. So, first of all, let's see if our glue is ready to be foiled. Don't know how good this is going to be because my pen was a bit not juicy today. So, let's just go across. And when you do that, if you see like this bubbly pattern, that means that at least some of the foil should transfer. So get your finger in there, give it a good burnish down. See, my glue pen's a bit drying out, but for some reason my other one's not on there, so I will go hunting and see if I can show you that better later. So move your glue pen. Here's some top tips for your foiling. Number one, make sure that it is completely dry and set before you let your foil anywhere near it. Otherwise your foil will pick up the glue and not the glue pick up the foil. So you end up with sticky foils that transfer everywhere. And don't transfer cleanly at that. Number two, if you have something where it doesn't quite pick up, you can go back over it again and you might just pick up a few bits. Let's see if we can get those bits off. Yeah. Poor glue pen. Hey ho. Right, so at least that's not sticky anymore, and then I can do some bits on this other section. So next what I want to do is I want to kind of create a frame. So as I said, if we were to try and use direct cut, what you're going to end up with is lots of individual pieces because we've got all these white gaps. So I'll help that a bit closer. You can see we've got a white gap here. There's a gap in the design there, and it will try and follow those inside and out, which isn't what we want. So we need to be a bit clever. So let's get my mat back in for a second. No shield needed this time because we're just going to do a cut. And let's bring it in 1 inch in and 1 inch down so that we can get a full scan. And that means that we're going to be able to do things like cut around the outside as well as the inside. Now, I'm going to load my mat. And because we've still got that design on our mat, we can still do our background scan without having to add anything else. So let's just hop across the screen. So you can see that we still got our design there. That was from a Kelly Create USB, by the way. So I'm going to go back one to our background scan and knock the pop. But yeah, let's say in terms of the craft shield, let's say you wanted to do some invites and you want to make sure that you get them all perfectly spot on, then the shield is there to help you do that. And those of you that have the foil shield set one will be aware that we also have them so that you can have like popular card sizes as well. And thank you, Ian, for answering that question. So now we've got that scanned, we can see that it's a little bit pale. So let's bring that back up because we knocked it back when we had the oil on our mat. So there you go. So before we delete our leaves out the middle, we want to add another shape in, whether that's going to be center aperture or whichever. So I'm going to go to add pattern. I'm going to go into basic shapes just to get me started. And I'm going to go for this curved square here. I'm not bothered about the size. Okay. Then we can go to our group, into edit, and just delete that out of the way. So that means that we don't end up losing our background scan. And we'll pop that into the middle. Okay. And it's a little bit big, so let's just take it down just a touch. So I'm resizing. It's going to resize from that center point. So if we line that up first, then we should be pretty centered in that stamped image. Okay. Now, next thing you need to decide is what you want to do about the outside of the frame. It could be that you want to do a little bit fussy cutting around it. It could be as long as you've got a stamp where the lines join. But if you like this one, you've got something that is a little less filled in as such, then we can be a little bit more clever. So for starters, I'm going to go into Object Edit. I'm going to go to Number, go to 2, and that's going to give me a copy to work on. Okay, and that copy is going to be highlighted and selected. I'm going to take that size up. Okay, I'm going to line that up like so. So that's going to give us our kind of centre line for our stems at the moment. We need to take that out just a touch more so that we get in some of our kind of outer bits as well. Okay, but at this point it's still going to cut into our roses. So I'm going to go OK, OK, OK again. Go to Add Pattern, into Basic Shapes, down to Circle. Okay, and they are about 1 inch square, so before we take it too far into our actual map, we can actually just drop that down and add that onto our mat. Now, when we're adding shapes onto our mat, it's always going to want to think that you won't want to overlap. And in this case, we actually do. So I'm going to pop that just over our flower there. We can see it needs to resize down just a tad. And we could cut into that design slightly. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to go into Nudge and just nudge that over. Okay. And if you're happy with the size at this point, we're going to go back to Number, and we need 4 of them. We can then position those roughly with our stylus. Over the top. Okay. And if we go back into our nudge, we can still nudge those into a slightly better position if we need to. Now obviously, if we were to cut this out at this moment in time, what you're going to end up with is an awful lot of little pieces that you're going to end up trying to rejoin on your card front, which isn't ideal. So I'm going to go OK, multi-select, and I'm going to tap my 4 circles and just the outside frame, like so. And go OK, Object Edit, Weld. It's going to give you a preview. Are you happy that this is what it's going to do? Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Okay. And at this point, you might go, well, actually, that centre shape just needs to move around. And you might go here and you go, oh, why can't I get hold of that? And that's because that weld, when you weld something, brings it up to the top. So that's just something to bear in mind. But the easy way to get hold of something that is underneath is using our arrow keys just there. Then we can nudge as we need to. Okay. And then we have our frame. Drop in your water blade and go to cut. So the craft shield and the taste pack of the new foils are available to buy now on the Plannercraft site. And you can use that discount code, which is 15%, as in the symbol, YouTube. So it's all one word, no spaces. And all you need to do is just spend over £5 for that to be activated. Okay. So let's take this off the map and we can see what it looks like. So let's just go overhead for the moment, because this is quite a good camera to show it on, and we can see that we've got our frame. Back to our overhead. So I have this one here, and we've got our little leaf design here. So we want to kind of decide how you want that to play out. Now I'm thinking it would be quite nice to build that up in layers, so that we kind of have a little bit of this colour kind of popping through that inside, but I also want to have it kind of outside as well. So let's think. We can do a shape out the middle that's going to fit in here. We can do another kind of offset that's going to give us some colour around our frame as well. So how can we do that? So let's take our centerpiece out, because waste nothing. And what you can do is use that as a guide. So there's our layer there, and we could go, okay, that center shape is actually a pretty good match, so let's go with that one. So then you just kind of need to decide how you want that to sit on your little bit of card. So again, 1 inch in, 1 inch down, so it can make the most of our card without worrying about our active area. Back to the screen cam. We're going to go okay. Now I'm going to go back, and before I do anything else, if you like what the design that you've set up, go to save. Okay, now just because I was using my USB earlier, I'm going to put my normal USB in, and I'm going to save it to the USB. Okay, that's because I'm going to be doing a little bit deleting next. So I'm thinking around the outside of this outside frame would actually be quite nice. So we can go to edit, object edit, and we can offset that outwards. Okay. I'm going to go OK for now. I'm just going to go into multi-select and I'm going to try and get both frames. Now, if it won't let you, we're going to go to the X, use that arrow select keys to get between the layers. Okay, then back to that multi-select and see if it'll let me get to it. There we go. So once we've got our two lines selected, and you can see there's like a double red line, might be a bit difficult to pick up. I'm going to go OK, object edit, and I'm just going to group that together. So not weld, we're just grouping it so that I can kind of move that around as I need to. Let's just drag that down there for a moment. Okay, so our center aperture is going to work out pretty well with our foiling. So one thing I am going to do though in the actual design of the card is actually rotate it. So what we can do to make our lives a little easier is actually rotate it in our machine. So if we want to rotate something 45 degrees, we're going to tap the 10 degrees 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 1 degree 5 times. 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, and that's going to give us our diamond format. And again, we'll go OK. Now, one thing you may find is that by rotating it round, you might struggle to make it fit. But I just want to see if we can do that, just so that I can keep the elements that I've drawn upright, if you see what I mean. So, OK, OK, and background scan. Okay, so we've got our diamond in place already. Let's just see if we can fit this on as well. That's looking pretty promising. If ever you're not sure, we can go into edit, zoom, and then we can see that much more in depth, and we can also move elements as we need to. Let's just move that back a bit, not too far. And that's looking a little bit low at the bottom, so I'm just going to nudge that up. Now, we are humans, and we're never going to get something on our map perfectly straight. So if you need to, we can rotate elements by like 1 degree. Now 1 degree, although it sounds like it's a small change, is actually quite a big change. Okay, let's see how that goes. So make sure that none of your cut lines cross, and we can go OK, and then we can go to cut. Now it may be that when you do this cut that you might find that you want to add more foil, and that's absolutely fine. So that's why we keep our foil pieces to one side. I will put some of the koi on with the foil quill as well, just because I don't seem to have a glue pen around my desk, which is mad. Okay, So everything that you've cut, you can use in another card. So just keep those bits to one side. And we want our, so even our little centre bit here. So if I go, let's have this back overhead. So even though I'm not using that on this particular bit of card here, we've still got a ready-made card to go, and that's pretty perfect actually. So I have got a plain 6x6 here, just to show that we can kind of match and swap layers. So that one's going to go on that one. And then we've got our frame here. So we've got our centre panel that we're going to put either that way or that way. Let's go that way. And like so. We then got our nice colourful frame. You just want to be careful when you're removing this from the mat so that you don't stretch. Okay, and we have our super duper fine frame to go around our outside bit here. So what we could do is, from another piece of card, we could cut that outside frame so that we're kind of only one way to go. I managed to get the wrong way. There we go. So that's going to go there, hopefully. Then that's going to sit on there. So what I'm thinking is, if we do another bit of card just to support that all, then we can lift that up, which means we're going to see more of that foiling underneath. So let's go for, I'm just going to grab a 12 by 12 just to make life a little bit easier. So the 12 by 12 card that I've been using is the Marie one. There we go. Just going to pop that straight on my mat. So remember before how we grouped it. Grouping we can always undo when we need another version of it. So let's go back to the screen. Let's go OK. We're going to go back. And again, I'm just going to save where I've got to, so that if we need to get it back. And it's going to come up with this error message saying, includes a group pattern on the mat. You can't ungroup it once you save it as a group pattern. That's fine. New. Okay. So because we haven't closed it and reopened it, we can still ungroup. So I'm just going to ungroup that first. Okay. Then we can go, well, actually, I want the larger one. So if ever you're not sure, just offer it up and you can see that was the big one. So let's move that down there. This inside one we're going to do away with. Okay. And that one we don't need anymore. Okay. I'm going to go back to OK. Add. And we can retrieve data from our USB. So the one we just saved was 91. So we know that, therefore, our previous one was 90. Okay, and we can see what shape that's going to be. Okay. And I'm going to lay that back over the top. Now, if you're not certain whether something is aligned properly, we can go to Edit, Multi-Select, Select All. Okay. and then we can go and move those all together. Now, before you do that, if you do this and you can see that that center shape isn't grouped yet, then what we're actually going to do is want to have that center shape grouped with that inside line. So I'm going to go back a step so that I can see that that outside line moves back out of the way. I'm going to select those two center shapes, so go to multi-select, tap that outer shape, OK, object edit, and I'm going to group that temporarily, and that's just so that make sure that that center aperture doesn't move in relationship to that frame for our line. And I apologise if everybody just went, no, you've lost me. Okay. So I've got everything selected and we want to go to align, and we're going to go centre and centre. So then we know that outside line is in perfect alignment to the original. Okay. So now that we've done that, I want to go OK and go back to the group inside, object edit and ungroup it. OK, and then that center line I'm just going to delete. Okay, so we've got the outermost line still in there and our center aperture from our frame still in there. So hopefully that should give us our support that we need to be able to pop up our frame. So at this point we're going to select everything. Okay, we're going to group it. Okay, and move it up to this top corner because we've put a 12 by 12 sheet onto our mat, so we don't have to worry about positioning anymore. So although that scan is still there, that's not what's on my mat, so I'm going to turn it off so that it doesn't get confusing. Okay, cut, and off we go. And I haven't even got onto the other pieces of the craft shield yet, because in the centre of the netted squares you actually get some little corner guides that are going to help you with positioning. And you're going to see me using those more so in the coming weeks, where we're going to be doing some layering designs. In terms of what else is coming to the shop, there's going to be a project kit that's going to be coming up, and that project kit has two options. You can either buy it as a digital download and do it out of your own papers, or you can actually buy it as a physical kit with the paper included. And you're going to have different options of papers to choose from. So let's pop this back overhead. There we go, and we should have our frame. So our center aperture should now match, like so. And then we have this outside edge to stick our, let's see if I can get that in shot. Come on, lights. You should just be able to see. There you go, if I just pull that back, you've got like a little lip to stick that frame to. So, given what time it is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this together off stream. I'll also do those samples with the glue as well, just so that you can see the different effects that you get from using the foil quill to using your two-way glue, because there is quite a big difference, and I just want you to kind of see how you can change the look of your foil just by what you're using to adhere it to your surface. And I think that's it. So I may do, I'm not promising, I may do a quick live on Friday, just to go over the bits I haven't had a chance to do. So things like the corner guides that come with your craft shield, so that you can see how those work. You're welcome, Sandra. And then we're back to the book. SJ is live on Monday for us, and I do know what she's doing, I think. I can't quite remember. But we will put up an event for all the lives going forward, whether that's the lives that are on YouTube or the lives that are on Facebook. So please, please, please do say if you're going or if you're interested, because it helps drive the engagement up. Same with the YouTube videos. If you can like and subscribe, again, it makes YouTube happy. So yeah, it is a bit of a weird one, but yeah, it drives the algorithm. So please do like, share, and we want to bring you lots more fun things coming soon. So wait till you see release 2 for the papers. Gorgeous. So the colours kind of give you a hint of where we're going, shall I say? So take care for now, and I will pop these up on the group and on the pages later. So do give us like, follows, and if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask.